what happened here coming up. Sure, it was the 18 Brian Beach. Corner down into the 19 of Matt Horton. 78 of Ryan Pizzicami with nowhere to go here. Here's the one car, Brandon Bennett. He gets into it as well. The 13 car gets through. 81 gets it through.
We're going to change everything when it comes to the finishing order of this race. Jeremy Miller, can he record?
That's it, go!
I don't really know if he could, because this is such a aero-dependent track.
Well, see, I don't think he can, because he came into the pits immediately after the leader, as now Chambliss comes into the pits. So does the 37 of Swigert. So this could leave Robbie Kennelly into the lead of this race. Going into turn 1. So he's got 25. Hello everyone and welcome to the Kansas Speedway and welcome to the BackwoodRacer 150 here on the Aussie Sim Commentator channel for the Output Racing League. And I just remembered I completely forgot to change the title of the race. So the broadcast has got it wrong. So let me just fix that real quick. Take 1 week off and everything just goes crazy. There we go, that should be fixed now. So currently have 25 drivers, 24 drivers signed up for this racing action here tonight at the Kansas Speedway for the BackwoodRacer 100. At the moment, we currently don't have a logo for this evening's racing, but hopefully soon we will. Christian Budd currently setting the pace with a 30.157, and that time was achieved on the high line, so this will be a high line dominated track. We have one new driver to the league here tonight, and we also have a returning face that we haven't seen for a while, as everyone's getting ready for the pit party here. And what's even better is that they both chose numbers next to each other. Oh, Mark Benskamp on the outside line, horrible start. He stacked them all up. Look at the chaos. Oh, they might have to re-rack and stack that and do it again. So the first of the new guys, he's sitting here on pit road, is Robert Holder in the 19. There we go. The Dodge number 19. So he's going for the Jeremy Mayfield paint. And the second of our new guys, the return of Mr. Brian Harris. And he is in the Mobile 18 here tonight. As the pit party is still continuing on. Don't know why we're stuck on Kyle Krausfall when there's still cars on track. There we go. There's Corey Cook in the 61. He's currently in P8. The current top 10 is Bud, Pizzakemi, Leary, Rickard, Champo, Hennessy, Williamson, Cook, Slama, and Marquez. Oh, in the background there, Ted Fallow and Sam Niederhelm. They got very close to making contact there. There's Adam Johnson in the 32. He actually has the right number tonight, which is great to see. The 13, Travis Massier, has gone around. Now, the high line is actually pretty hard to run around here by virtue of the way that these cars crab on the straights. They crab like that in the corners too. So it's very easy to get your right rear into the fence and just get stuck in the fence. As Adam Johnson goes for another excursion into the infield grass. There's Brian Pizzakemi in the 78. Running the Team Watson Racing setup car. He's on the outside of the 61 of Corey Cook. There's a 17, Christian Budd, currently leading the way. And Chris Champeau currently in P5. And we have just under 10 minutes left in practice here. There's the 18, Brian Harris, making his return to racing action. He's currently in 20th. As now we have 25 cars signed up for the race. Jonathan Hernandez has just entered the fray, but he hasn't been on track to set a time yet. It was actually doubtful whether he would actually make it or not. Yeah. His area of the country has electrical issues. The same issue has befallen the 38 of Thomas Harmon. Oh, someone's gone off on the back straight there. Not actually sure who that was. Couldn't get a clear read on the number. As Harris has scraped along the fence, and he got super loose because of it. Managed to keep it under control though, surprisingly. Thad Faylor got stuck on the fence. PJ Leary trying to make inroads on the inside line. As I said, the outside line is the place to be for lap time, but the better race times might be achieved on the inside line if you can manage to keep your tyres under you. Was that Brian Harris still just struggling to get to grips with the car? There's a 32, Adam Johnson. Looks like he's come a cropper coming out of turn 2. There is James Watson. He's just come out of the pits. He's currently down in 19th at the moment. Jonathan Hernandez has started putting in lap times. He's currently good enough for 15th with a 30.796. 6/10 off the leading time set by Christian Budd. Pizzacami is just under a 10th away from the time set by Christian Budd. But it's close enough to a 10th that it may as well be a 10th. Top 5 currently separated by 0.3 of a second. Almost 4. And the top 10 separated by 0.4 of a second, pretty much 5. Brian Harris coming back out of the pits. Lane 2 is the 81 of Corey Williamson. As Frank Isaacson's just gone around him. Frank currently in 17th. Harris currently in 22nd. Williamson currently in 7th. PJ Leary, our P3 driver. Andrew Griesbaum currently in 13th. And just about 5 minutes to go until the end of practice. Breezebum doing some tricky stuff to make sure he didn't get an illegal pit entry there. Harris and Williamson still battling on track. They've been together since they came out of the pits, the 18 and the 81. Oh, Harris got loose. Into the side of Williamson he went. There's Dad Faylor. He is on the back of Jonas Marquez. Dad currently in 11th and Jonas currently in 10th. Oh, loose was Jonas. Back to Williamson and Harris we go. And Hernandez has just come out of the pits behind them. And around has gone Thad Paylor. He's going to get it right out of the way. As Brian Harris comes to a sliding stop sideways. Frank Isaacson in the 24 car, currently P17. Just behind him was Chris Champeau, currently P5. Fernandez still hasn't been able to improve from 14. It's Frank Isaacson, as we only have about 2.5 minutes left in practice now. Hernandez going for a spin. That's coming out of turn 4, so that's in the infield grass on the front straight. And Joe Slammer, currently P9. I'm surprised he's only in 9th, honestly. Thought this would be the kind of track that would draw out some extra pace from him. He gets around Adam Johnson, who's going into the pits. Oh, Slammer got very loose there. Frank Isaacson going for a spin through the grass in the front. There's Chris Champeau. He'll be happy to end this with a top 5 in practice. But he'll be even happier if he can come away with a W in the race. And now we have just under a minute to go in practice, which means we are going to be going to a commercial break, which means when we come back, we'll see the results of qualifying for the BackwoodRacer 150 here on the Aussie Sim Commentator channel for the Output Racing League. So make sure you guys stay tuned. Racing action is just around the corner. And welcome back to the BackwoodRacer 150 here on the Aussie Sim Commentator channel for the Output Racing League. And qualifying has been completed, and to the surprise of absolutely no one, 17 of Christian Budd sits on the pole, and on his outside will be the 94 of Andrew Hennessy. Row 2 will be the 68 of Andrew Griesbaum and the 29 of PJ Leary. Out of P5 will be the 9 of Joe Slammer and the 92 of Chris Champeau out of P6. P7 will be the 39 of James Watson, and P8 the 50 of Scott Rickard. P9 will be the 2 of Jonathan Hernandez, and P10 the 7 of Kyle Kraus. The rest of the field will be the 15 of Ken Campbell in 11th, the 64 Jonas Marquez out of 12th, 32 of Adam Johnson will be out of 13th, with the 61 of Corey Cook out of 14th. 15th will be the 5 of Mark Pentecoff, 16th, the 66 of Sam Niederhelm. 17th will be the 81 of Corey Williamson, 18th, the 21 of Thad Faylor, 19th, the 24 Frank Isaacson, 20th, the 13 of Travis Massia, 21st will be the 93 of Matt Sasola, 22nd, the 18 of Brian Harris, and 23rd will be the 19 of Robert Holder, and he'll be the last one eligible for Hard Charger Award. And then Robert DeVore and Brian Pizzicami wrap up the field as non-qualifiers. We've got 100 laps ahead of us, 150 miles, and it should be an absolutely cracking race here from Kansas. As the pace car makes a hard left turn into the pit lane. The first start is on green. All the restarts are on the leader in the restart zone. And we are off and racing. And what a big jump there for Christian Budd to begin with. Immediately going to the outside line in front of Andrew Hennessy, who both choose to run the low line on the first lap here. At least in the first couple of corners. The rest of the field all just trying to get a little bit of positions going. Just all jockeying around. The good thing is no one seems to have had an issue here on the first lap, as everyone gets through it really nicely. Oh, except for Corey Williamson. Got loose there on the apron on the front stretch, and he has now fallen all the way down to 24th. Corey Cook did not make it to the grid. So we'll have to try and find out what's going on for the driver of the 61 car. There's the 39, James Watson. He's currently in 9th. Just in front of him, Scott Rickard and Jonathan Hernandez battling over the 8th position. Rickard on the outside, that's the preferred line. And let's see what our leader is doing, the 17. Is he still running low, or is he transitioned to the high line now? And he's still running low. He's trying to look after those tyres by the looks of things. We'll see how his line progresses throughout the race. Saw the 92. Was it the 92? Yep, the 92 battling with the 68. That's Champo and Griesbaum. They are battling over the 4th position here. Scott Rickard looks like he wants to try and get in on this battle as well, as the 92 of Chris Champo takes the position. And these three all go nose to tail now. Scott Rickard, though, he gets onto the apron, and he's going to force Griesbaum into the higher line. Rickard with a huge run on the inside line there. And he not only took over 5th, but he's battling Champo for 4th. And he takes it. The inside line has definitely got something going on here early in the laps. Fastest lap of the race, currently a 30.975, set by the 29 of PJ Leary in 3rd. And there's our ticker, finally starting to work. Currently looking at Marquez in the 64, trying to get underneath the 7 of Kyle Kraus. These guys with Ken Campbell battling over the 11th position. Just behind them, Frank Isaacson, who's made up 5. Matt Sasola's made up 6 positions since the start. Pizzakemi up 9. Scott Rickard is up into 3rd place. He's gotten around PJ Leary. So Rickard on an absolute tearaway right now. He's definitely the biggest mover in the top 10. Matt Sasola is currently the one who looks like he's in contention for the Hard Charger Award, up 7. Brian Pizzakemi up 10 from where he started. Here is a battle on track between Marquez and Sasola. Marquez trying to make that outside groove work, and now Sasola under threat from the 78 of Pizzakemi. Pizzakemi, who's just calmly been running that higher line, getting the momentum going. Now he's got the side draft on Marquez. Quite a bit of history between those two drivers. As Pizzakemi takes the advantage. That momentum on the outside line is definitely going to be hard to beat, especially as the run goes on, the tyres get old. PJ Leary still has the fastest lap of the race. Oh, I think I just saw Andrew Griesbaum get into the fence there in the back straight. That rolled his momentum there a little bit. We're looking at PJ Leary. He's currently in 4th. And all's looking really calm right now. The practice was a bit wild and crazy, especially before the broadcast went live. But it looks like, oh, not sure who that was. I think that might have been Marquez in the 64 car. Nope, it wasn't. I was definitely very wrong there. Oh no, PJ Leary's got into the fence. It was actually Jonathan Hernandez that we saw before getting to the fence as well. People starting to get into that high line, and some people are stepping over the mark a little bit here. The calm race is starting to get a little bit chaotic as people are getting really tight coming off of turn 4. The 61 of Corey Cook has now entered racing action. He's just coming out of the pits, and I imagine he'd be quite a few laps down as well. Be at least 16 laps down. Oh, he's 15 laps down. Brian Pizzicemi has made his way into the top 15 after starting dead last. Scott Rickard hasn't been able to make any inroads on our top 2. He's actually side by side battling with the 68 of Andrew Griesbaum. Griesbaum, who started out of 3rd, he wants to try and take 3rd back. Griesbaum still making good inroads on the inside line here. The Scott Rickard on the outside line, just using all that momentum, especially down the back straight. And it's going to be hard for Rickard to get around him. For Griesbaum to get around him, sorry. As Rickard got tight coming out of 4, got into the fence. That'll be all the invitation Griesbaum needs here. He could perform a slide job and move up into that position, but I don't think he wants to slide the tyres that far up the track. He's still going to try and maintain this lower line. It's just behind them. Slama and Champo are still battling as well. Now Rickard runs low on 3 and 4. I've got one car in the pits. I think that is the new guy, the 19. It is the 19 of Robert Holder. And he's got a lot of right side damage on that car, so I'm assuming he's gotten into the fence once or twice. Oh, it's Griesbaum. He was stuck in the fence on the back straight. He's lost all of his momentum. And he's fallen into the clutches of Hernandez, who wants 6th place off him. And is going to take it here on the front chute. At the same time that that's going on, Slama and Rickard are now side by side battling over 3rd. Slama doing the work on the low line here. And it looks like Slama is going to take it. Oh yeah, just sneaking up in front of Rickard there. So Slama into 3rd place now. There's a 2 of Fernandez. He's just behind this little battle. And he got loose coming out of turn 4 there. The turn 4 at this track is pretty weird. You get tight coming up into it, but once you come off it and get over that hump and onto the chute, that's when it breaks loose on you. Rickard still railing that high line. But Christian Budd has a 2-second lead over Hennessy right now. And then it's another second back to Slama. And it looks like our new driver, Robert Holder, has retired from the race. I didn't even get to go over his stats yet. Is a B-Class 3.28 safety rating driver with a 1556 I rating. But we're now a quarter of the way through this race, 25 laps complete. 75 laps to go in this 150-mile race. So we are going to go to a commercial break. And when we come back, we'll be waiting for the green flag pit stops, which should be coming up very shortly. Welcome back to the Backwood Racer 150 here on the Aussie Sim Commentator channel for the Output Racing League, and we're riding on board with the 17 of Christian Budd, and the gap between himself and Andrew Hennessy since the ad break has been coming down. It's down to 1.5 seconds after being out to the tune of about 2 seconds. And as you can see, both first and second have migrated up to the high line now. It just seems Andrew Hennessy a little bit more comfortable with the outside line than what Christian Budd is. So we could have a battle forming there for the lead shortly. Speaking of battles, the 15 of Ken Campbell making some big inroads here on the inside line. He's gotten around Scott Rickard, and now he's getting around Chris Champeau. In the background, PJ Leary got into the fence. Scott Rickard now swaps down to the low line to follow Campbell through. And Hernandez with a big block on Campbell there. But Campbell absolutely charging on that inside line. Oh, Rickard. Looked like he got loose there maybe. Slid up in front of Champeau very abruptly. James Watson's starting to get into this mix as well. But Campbell in the 15 car has just made his way up into 4th. See if he'll be able to hold it here as he's still side by side, the two of Jonathan Hernandez. The gap between our leaders is now down to 1.2 seconds. Oh, in the background, things are getting sketchy. Side by side still is Hernandez and Campbell. Campbell just absolutely glued to that low line. He's got the advantage, takes the position clean and clear. Hernandez nothing to do but to slot in behind Campbell car. Great to see Ken Campbell having a good run. Currently P7. And we have someone pitting. That's the 92 of Chris Champeau. Only lap 33, he's pitting already. Might have damage on that 92 car, although we can't see it from the right side here. See what his pit stop's like. Doesn't look like he slid through his box, and he's getting tyres at the very least. We'll have to keep an eye on that. There's Scott Rickard, currently P6. Kyle Kraus has gone into the pits as well. So too has the 5 of Mark Pentacuff. Champeau is back out on track. This might be a 2-stop race. At least if these early pit stops are anything to go by. Ryan Harris in the pits now. See if we have anyone else peel off to the pits. Oh, 3 wide. That's not usually going to work. Dennis Marquez has made it to the fence. As we do have a couple other takers. Griesbaum and Phalor have gone to the pits. Yeah, this is looking like a 2-stop race. Absolutely. Oh, as we saw Rickard there really getting into the fence coming out of turn 4. He might pit shortly just to alleviate the damage there, if nothing else. As Frank Isaacson's now coming to the pits. Got to be a matter of time before our leaders start pitting. Here comes the 2 of Jonathan Hernandez now. And the 39 of James Watson. 78 Brian Pizzakemi is also in. I think the 81 of Corey Williamson has some damage on the 81 machine here. Although the 7 of Kyle Kraus is on much fresher tyres as well. In fact, everyone that's going around him is on fresher tyres. There's Robbie DeVore. He's currently P10 by virtue of all the pit stops. The 32 of Johnson's in. The 66 of Niederhelm's in. They're pitting from 8th and 9th. Andrew Hennessy is in. Rickard is in as well. And Sasola. There's only about 6 cars left to pit. That's Bud, Slama, Campbell, O'Leary, DeVore, and Williamson. And Bud has come in this time. And it looks like Ken Campbell's coming as well. So too has O'Leary. Joe Slama has been credited with leading the lap. He must be trying to push it to halfway. Is Slama. It's just Slama and DeVore who have not pitted yet. There's Hennessy. He come out buried a little bit. Christian Budd is effectively sitting in second right now behind Champeau. DeVore has come in, so now it's just Slama who is yet to pit. And Slama is in. He will hand the lead back to Chris Champeau here. So interesting scenes indeed. Looks like everyone will have to pit at least once more if we go green the whole way. As Chris Champeau has just inherited the lead, but he has a 5-second gap over Christian Budd right now. And that gap is coming down to the tune of about half a second per lap. Especially since there's about 9 laps different in the tyres. But Champeau currently leading away. Only by 4 seconds now, though. So top 10 as it stands after the first pit stop cycle. Champeau, Budd, Hennessy, Griesbaum, Hernandez, Krause, Watson, Rickard, Fallor, and Campbell in 10th. Campbell with much fresher tyres than most of the guys in front of him. He might be on the path for making up some moves here. He's just made one on Fallor. Kyle Krause with one of the oldest sets of tyres in the top 10 here. He's going to find it really hard to hold on to the 6th position as James Watson is closing in on him very quickly. And I'm thinking for some of these guys to make it to the end, might have to get a couple of cautions. I don't think one caution would really do it. Having a look at the scope of things here. There's Watson. He's in P6. He's got 10 laps on his tyres now. And it looks like Christian Budd has caught up to Chris Champeau. Makes a nice, simple little outside maneuver on him. Andrew Hennessy up there as well. And he's probably going to take advantage of Champeau's older tyres. And he's going to dive up the inside, actually. Well, Champeau looked a little bit uneasy there coming out of turn 4. As we now pass the halfway marker, 50 laps down, 50 laps to go. Mark Pentecoff goes a lap down. Rickard has gotten around Watson. And Rickard now giving Griesbaum some grief. And he'll get around him quite easily. 4 laps difference in the tyres there for Rickard and Griesbaum. Griesbaum actually with older tyres than Watson as well by 2 laps. Matt Sassola in the 93 is looking like the hard charger at the minute. He's got 9 positions gained. And I wonder what's happened with the 78 of Pizzakemi here. He's a lap down. He must have had a penalty. Or he stayed in the pits extra long to get some repairs made. Because he's a lap down in 23rd position. There's Sam Niederhelm, currently enthralled in a battle with Williamson and Massier. And just behind them are both lap down cars of Corey Cook and Brian Pizzakemi. Well, 2 of the lap down cars, I should say. As Brian Harris, making his return to the league, has just gone a lap down. The next person on the hit list is Frank Isaacson in 20th, who is possibly going to go a lap down. But if we were to get a caution right now, Brian Harris would be the lucky dog wave around driver. Scott Rickard has made his way into 4th now. So he's just gotten around the 2 of Jonathan Hernandez. Their battle is just in front of these guys we were watching. Ken Campbell has made his way into P6. So Rickard's on a charge and Ken Campbell is on a charge. The gap from Bud to Hennessy has gone back out to about 2 seconds. Hennessy with the fastest lap of the race now at 30.957. Matt Sassola still continuing his charge as he's made it into the top 10 now. He's plus 11 for the race at the moment. Ken Campbell all over the back of Hernandez here. He'll make this move pretty easily. with the massive tyre difference. Hernandez on 20 lap old tyres, Campbell 17 lap old tyres. I think Campbell's just been looking after his tyres ever so nicely. There's Hennessy for a moment there, blinked out of existence. And I think the 24, Frank Isaacson, has gone a lap down now. Rickard and Champo are side by side, and Rickard takes that position quite easily and handily. Campbell's about to do the same. Campbell has been catching these guys ahead of him very quickly. And it doesn't look like he's pushing too hard either, as he makes his way into fourth underneath of Chris Champo. But just in front of Rickard here is Brian Harris, who's a lap down in 21st. Harris is just trying to survive on his comeback to the Output Racing League. He's trying to survive, trying to stay out of everyone's way. And that's someone in the fence in the background there. I wasn't paying full attention, so I didn't see who it was. Oh, Kraus and Thad Faylor seem to be having a nice little battle here for the 12th position. I think Thad got into the fence a little bit and allowed Kyle back through. There's Ken Campbell in the 15. He's consistently been faster than Scott Rickard. Corey Cook on some fresh tyres has been carving his way through the field with how many laps down he is. So he'll be here to interrupt this battle here momentarily. Oh, big move to the inside with Ken Campbell. Scott Rickard almost turned in on him there. Ken Campbell up into third officially, as Corey Cook in the 61 is going to get around to both of them. It's a shame to see the Cookie Monster so many laps down. Campbell actually slightly faster than Hennessy on the last lap. Hennessy has lost about 3 seconds now to Christian Budd. There's about 4.5 seconds between Hennessy and Campbell. See what the difference is in time this lap. Campbell was faster by about 1/10.5. The Campbell's got a big job ahead of him if he wants to try and catch up to Hennessy here. There's the two of Jonathan Hernandez. Just behind him, James Watson getting underneath Chris Champo. That's for 7th. Champo's coming into the pits. So is the 7 of Kyle Kraus. They're both going for the undercut strategy here. This must be the earliest they can pit and make it to the end. as Brian Pizzacami is 78. He is looking at the battle for 13th between Williamson and Marquez. And Marquez actually letting Pizzacami go by. So the first two of the last pit stops has been completed. And I'm pretty sure Champo and Kraus are hoping for a huge undercut here to try and get themselves situated in front of Bud and Hennessy for when they pit. 61 of Corey Cook is back in the pits. I think that is. No, it's the 81, Corey Williamson. Williamson in the pits. 8s and 6s look the same on my little mini map. And he's been joined in the pits by Griesbaum. The 64 Marquez has now gone into the pits. Looks like Sassola and Fowler are in the pits as well now. Everyone's getting this flurry of pit stops done. But how early is too early? That is the question. As Campbell and Hernandez are in. Campbell going for the undercut now. On the leaders, he went for the overcut before. PJ O'Leary is in as well. Now we've got Pentacuff is in with Johnson. Rickard is in. He's just pitted out a third. Sam Niederhelm, Robert DeVore. Travis Smasher as well, just off behind him a little bit. These guys are currently battling over effective on track P5. As Hennessy has now come into the pits. So he's getting a 1 lap undercut on Bud. Or at least 1 lap undercut. I think Niederhelm's in and Bud is in. Bud's just come into the pits. And both Slama and Watson are in as well. I'm just waiting for everything to equalize out here to figure out where everyone is. Brian Harris has just come into the pits. We've got Robbie Duvall, Travis Massia, who are both yet to pit. Chris Champeau effectively leading this race. And Christian Budd, effective P2. Ken Campbell, effective P3. Andrew Hennessy's effective P4. Jonathan Hernandez, effective P5. Let's go have a look at our 92 machine. There he is. I'll pick the right number eventually. Christian Budd's right on his tail. He didn't get as big of an undercut as what he did before, as Isaacson and Pizzakemi have both pitted once more. We're still waiting on Devore and Massia to pit. They're probably both running as long as they can. Oh no, Massia's coming in this time. Devore leads another lap. But Devore's probably running as much as he can to try and get a caution. Though with how this race is going so far, I don't think we're going to get one. There's Ken Campbell. Currently sitting in 5th, but effectively that's going to be 4th, as Hennessy has gotten around him. And Devore has stayed out another lap. Once Devore heads into the pit lane, we'll go for a commercial break. Since we were meant to do one like 6 laps ago. And Devore still hasn't pitted, so we're just going to go for the commercial break now. When we come back, we will be going to the checkered flag, so make sure you guys stay tuned. More action from the Backwood Racer 150 will be coming up shortly. Welcome back to the Backwood Racer 150 here on the SSM Commentator channel for the Output Racing League. And Christian Budd leading the way by 4 seconds over Robbie Devore, who is very quickly dropping further back than that. Andrew Hennessy sitting in 3rd with Chris Champeau 4th and Ken Campbell in 5th. And I'm really actually surprised that Robbie Devore hasn't pitted yet. And maybe he's been working on saving his fuel so he can get to the end. There's Andrew Hennessy getting around Robbie Devore right now. So Robbie Devore has now just been demoted to 3rd. Corey Cook trying to just get out of the way as possible of the faster drivers as he can. Scott Rickards currently sitting in 5th. As the battle for 3rd ahead of him has intense, or fourth, sorry. No, that is third. I'm an idiot. Campbell's just taken fifth away from Champo. So third away from Champo. It's one of those days. Scott Rickard has just taken away fourth from Champo, and Champ got into the fence there on the entry to turn one. It's going to leave him vulnerable here for Jonathan Hernandez, who's just in behind him. And it looks like the 6 has finally pitted. So Robbie DeVore, who went out there and led quite a few laps while everyone else had pitted. He's finally come into the pits. And where's he ended up, actually? He's ended up a lap down in 19th. It's currently 15 cars on the lead lap. Corey Williamson, last car on the lead lap in 15th. Here is the battle for P5 between Champo and Hernandez. Christian Budd has set the fastest lap of the race as well, a 30.741. As Hernandez slips underneath of Champo to take over the 5th position. Matt Sasola still looking like he is going to be the hard charger with the +9 to his name. Ken Campbell +8 for the race in 3rd. As the battle still continues on here, as now Joe Slama is in this battle for 5th. Oh, Marquez got loose in turn 4. He's the first car a lap down in 16th. As we've got 10 laps to go. That means 90 laps down, 10 laps left. There's Brian Harris in his return to the league. He's battling with Pentacuff over 21st. PJ Leary at the back of the top 10. Robbie DeVore on much fresher tyres than he. And there goes Robbie DeVore around the outside of PJ. Ken Campbell still holding on to 3rd over Rickard. And this has been a great race. There's been a lot of overtaking maneuvers happening. 2 green flag pit stops and no cautions. So these guys have been absolutely turning up the action here and doing it without causing any incidents. Which is surprising because when you get different tyre strategies going on, normally someone runs someone else over. Like we almost saw with Robbie DeVore and PJ Leary. And now the 81 Corey Williamson has gone a lap down. And it looks like the 32 Adam Johnson is about to go a lap down. Here's our leader, Christian Budd. So we are soon to have just 13 cars left on the lead lap. And Slama has made his way into 5th in front of Jonathan Hernandez. Slama with a little bit fresher tyres than most of the guys in front of him. Pitted on the same lap as Christian Budd. Ken Campbell's been doing an excellent job here holding off Scott Rickard. 5 laps left to run in this race. And I think we're going to just stick with Ken Campbell here in third. Just for the next few laps. Because this is definitely a battle that I want to keep tabs on. Ken Campbell has been around for a few seasons now. And he's not known as being, you know, one of the right at the front runners. But he's definitely taking the advantage here tonight. And he's made the best of what he's had under him. In fact, he's got Andrew Hennessy just in front of him. This is now the battle for second. Matt Sasola has gone back to being plus 10 for the race as he's moved up into 11th in front of Kyle Kraus. As we now have 3 laps to go. Can Campbell get his way into second? That's going to be the big question here. Andrew Hennessy will not make it easy for him to overtake. Here goes the look. He's there. He is to the inside of Hennessy. As they drag race, Hennessy experimenting with some alternate dimensions, trying to get an advantage. At the line, it goes to Campbell. 2 to go. And Campbell has moved his way into second on pure speed alone. And with older tyres than what Hennessy has as well. Hennessy's been burning up his tyres, trying to catch up to Christian Budd. But for Christian Budd, it is a white flag, last lap, last chance to win it or wear it. And he is just absolutely cruising along. He has not lost a single race this entire season. As he makes his way down the back straight for the final time into turns 3 and 4. Your winner of the BackwoodRacer 150 here from the Kansas Speedway is going to be the 17 of Christian Budd. P2 still up in the air, but it's going to go the way of the 15 of Ken Campbell, with P3 the 94 of Andrew Hennessy. P4 is Scott Rickard and P5 Joe Slump. And the 93 just crossing the line now. Matt Sasola finishing in 11th is our Hard Charger Award winner, going plus 10 for the race. But let's go back to the 17 now as he's on the front straight. He's already in the grass, ripping it up. He's celebrating another win on the trot. He has won every single race this season so far, continuing from the streak that he had when he last raced with us a few seasons ago. And what can I say? This 17 car is just absolutely unstoppable. We are going to go to another commercial break now. When we come back, we'll have driver interviews, so make sure you guys stay tuned. All right, guys, it is time for driver interviews now, and we're kicking things off with the Autism Awareness Hard Charger Award winner. And tonight's Hard Charger, starting 21st and finishing in P11, that's plus 10 for the race, is going to be the 93 car of Mr. Matt Sisola. Matt, congratulations on coming home as Hard Charger. I wrongly called you as Hard Charger a few weeks ago, but you finally earned it here tonight.
Yeah, well, I even made a joke to the team before the race that, well, maybe I'll get hard charger this time because my qualifying was unfortunate. I didn't have a great run on lap 1, and then lap 2 I was a little bit up coming out of turn 2, and the car got loose and I hit the fence, and of course when that happens it throws your lap out. So I just had to refocus in Celsius charger, and I was trying to catch that 29 of PJ O'Leary all race. Like, I was reeling him in at the end of the first stint, second stint. You know, I think he got a little bit better on tire strategy than me, and I couldn't quite get there. I was actually catching the 68 late, but I think I needed like another 15 laps to get there. But not at all disappointed considering, you know, we started P21 and it went 100 laps green flag. I think I needed a little bit of caution magic to give myself a chance, but yeah, not disappointed with a P11.
Yeah, and 2 green flag pit stops as well, mate. What was it like trying to figure out when you were going to make your pit stops so you could have the best tire advantage?
I mean, I was just trying to gauge off of, like I said, the 29 ahead of me. You know, give credit to the 92 though of Shampoo. I know he finished P8, but I mean he made the third strategy work. You know, he got out front, and you know he ended up 8 something seconds ahead of me, and I was just trying to gauge off of what PJ was doing. I was better at the end of the first run. I felt like I was taking it and starting to catch the 29, and then I thought maybe I can undercut him a little, and I undercut him by a couple laps, and then he caught me and went right around me, and then you know we got, you know, and I tried it again like at the final pit stop, and I'm, you know, number one, grateful I didn't spin the car coming onto pit road because none of these NASCARs handle all that well trying to drive off of an apron onto flat and get them down to 45 miles per hour. But, you know, I mean, it was tricky just trying to figure it out. I don't think anybody really had a right thing. I mean, Christian won because Christian he's inevitable. He's like Thanos. He's inevitable. We can't. Ken did a great job for our Team Kraus team, and he ended up 10.5 seconds behind him, and and Andrew was third, and he was 10.8. So, like, I mean, I really think it was just do what you tried. You know, if you could be comfortable and kind of go quick, that's what I think was where you were going to gain a little bit. That's why I was able to catch Kyle Kraus down the stretch. I feel like I pit a few laps after him, and you know, at the end of that run, you know, I could see him getting loose off the corners, and then, you know, it was just steady, and then I passed him down the backstretch with like, I want to say 7 to go. So,
all right, now let's look forward towards next week, Matt. We're going to be going to the last great Coliseum, the great Bristol Motor Speedway. What's the feeling like for you as we head into Tennessee?
We who are about to die salute you. I'm kidding, but I mean, with these Gen 4s, and you know, we're probably going to get a bunch of people here. It's not a track I've run the Gen 4 on a lot, so this will be a track where I'm gonna run some practice on prior to the race weekend, or prior to the race next Tuesday night, and we'll see what we can do. You know, I don't tend to do that bad at Bristol, but that's because I just kind of try to stay out of danger. But with these things, who knows? I mean, one person slips just an inch, then he gets run over, and it's just the whole track is just blocked, and you're going so fast there, and you're practically blind coming off of 2 and 4 that, you know, if there's a wreck ahead of you, you can hear wreck all you want, but by the time you see it, you're on the brakes and you're in it. Like, it's just going to be a matter of survival.
All right, now, before we let you go here tonight, Matt, anyone you want to give a quick shout out to?
Yeah. Obviously, I'll run down the sponsors. Celsius, the energy drink, for keeping me up this late to do this. I had a really long day today, so that really helped. My paint designer, LH Designs, he did this car and actually didn't have it ready till about probably 10 minutes before the session opened because there were minor tweaks he had to keep making, but he did a great job with it. Obviously, Apex Tech Racing Supply and Apex Technologies US, one of the other ones. Pro Simrig, Meridian TPI, Hugger Oranges, and obviously you, Corey, for doing a great job with the broadcast. It's always fun to go back and watch, even if I don't have the best race.
All right. Well, thank you very much for coming out, Matt. Congratulations on coming home with the Hard Charger Award. And once that energy drink wears off, mate, you can go for a sleep.
I appreciate that. I hope it wears off soon.
All right, guys. Thanks for coming out, and we'll see what you can do next week at Bristol.
Sounds good, Corey. I'll see you there.
All right, guys. That was the 93 Matt Sasola, and what a high energy interview. I love that. He is a great character. Coming up next, we are going to have our third place getter, and tonight's third place getter is going to be the 94 car of Mr. Andrew Hennessy. Andrew, you were looking for all money like you're going to come home with a top two tonight, but Ken Campbell in those dying laps just chased you down like a hungry dog.
Yeah, I got damaged during the second run, and then at that point I just kept losing time and losing more time, and then I hit the wall again before I pitted on the last pit stop, and I had so much damage that I'm surprised I didn't lose third place also at the end.
It looked like a very interesting race for yourself. Just trying to gain any kind of a tire advantage over Christian Budd. What was the race like out there, considering it went green the whole way with 2 green flag stops?
Honestly, it was kind of like I never done a long run with this car at Kansas, so I wasn't sure how it was gonna go. And I was like, oh, I was only behind Christian by a second, and then after I hit the wall in the second run, he just was gone. So at that point, I was just trying to hold on a second, and I didn't manage to do that. But still got third, which I'm happy about. I didn't really expect to do that great at Kansas. Usually not really great at the mile and a halfs like this, but I'm happy with the finish.
So, what was the race like trying to balance the car balance, especially with it, handling so different bottom line to top line, and just trying to figure out a way of making the tires wear evenly?
Yeah, like if I felt like I was burning off the right front, I would run the top, and if I felt like I was burning off the right rear, I'd run the bottom more. But I felt like I mostly burn off the right rear, so the bottom seemed to be the best throughout long runs, so you could save the right front mostly. If you ran the top, it was really fast for like 10 laps basically for a run, and then you just were so loose you couldn't run the top anymore. You'd just be so much slower. So it was definitely a balance. Like whatever you were feeling, I felt like you could run both lines. Just you had to like know if you were getting loose or tight, or burn off the right front or right rear.
All right, now let's look forward towards next week, Andrew. We're going to be going to the concrete hell of the Bristol Motor Speedway. What's the feeling like for you as we head into the last great Coliseum?
I love that track. It's like one of my favorite tracks, so I can't wait for that. Hopefully it goes green the entire race. I doubt it though, but it should be fun. Bristol's always a ton of fun.
It's a week away and you've already jinxed it. But before we let you go here tonight, Andrew, anyone you want to give a quick shout out to?
Yeah, if you're doing the broadcast, and then everyone who comes out and does these races, Chance race was a lot of fun for going green the entire race and doing 2 green flag stops. So yeah.
All right. Well, thank you very much for coming out, Andrew. We look forward to seeing what you can do next week when we go to Bristol.
Yeah, it should be a lot of fun. I can't wait too.
All right, guys. That was our third place getter here tonight, the 94 of Andrew Hennessy. Coming up next, we are going to have our second place getter. And what an exciting time this is for our second place getter, the 15 of Mr. Ken Campbell. Ken, you were out there like a rabid dog, mate, making your way up through the field, one position away from getting the Hard Charger Award, mate. How do you feel?
Fantastic, actually. Didn't get to put in a lot of practice, and so when I came in practice, I ran what I thought was a good lap, and I looked, and it was like you're .8 off the pace, and I was like, oh, it's going to be a long night. Was able to clean a little bit of that up. Was able to qualify better. I wouldn't say fantastic, but a little bit better, and so I didn't have to go as far. And I ran in the Gen 4 Cup when it was here. But I couldn't remember, and like just kind of as I ran the laps, it kind of came back to me, and I was like, oh yeah, I need to save tire here, I need to do that, and so yeah, it just kind of came back to me, and that experience was key, and let me just make my way up through the field.
And it was a bit of a different race for us for what the rest of the season has been like as well, with us not having any cautions and having to do 2 green flag pit stops. What was it like for you with the fact that we had to do a 2-stopper?
Well, at first it was great. I was like, man, this is green flag run. This is what output is, and glad to be back here. And then as the fuel was winding down, I was like, I didn't practice any stops. Somebody needs to wreck. And so my first stop was insanely slow, and I was just cussing everybody because they didn't wreck. And then once we got back going again and it was green flag, I was like, oh yeah, I like green flag again. So it was good. Nice change of pace, and glad that output is back to the green flag runs because it was a lot of fun.
All right, now let's look forward towards next week, Ken. We're going to be going to the last great Coliseum of the Bristol Motor Speedway. What's the feeling like for you as we head into the concrete hell of Bristol, Tennessee?
You pretty much said it. Concrete hell. I'm not a fan of it. It's one of those tracks that people either love or hate, and I'm not a short track guy anyway. And so Bristol, I have too many memories there. I usually run well. I run consistent if I don't get caught up in people's stuff, but I don't really bring any speed either. So just kind of get out there and drive around and try to have some fun and see what we can get.
I mean, if you want to talk about repressed memories, the entire league has a repressed memory from the second time we ran trucks for a season. We had a massive, just about entire field pileup coming out of turn 2. So the league knows how you feel. But before we let you go here tonight, Ken, anyone you want to give a quick shout out to?
First and foremost, give a shout out to my wife and kids. That support me in everything that I do, sim racing included. Everybody at Team Kraus, we had a really good night tonight. I think we finished 2, 3, and 10. Everybody back at the shop at Storm Motorsports, Cole Sacchetti at Wanna Go Graphics for making sure that I look good on track, and everybody here at the league. It's a fantastic league, really fun. Admins do a great job, and you up in the booth.
All right. Well, thank you very much for coming out, Ken. You've been around for quite a few seasons now. It's great to see you up there having an excellent run and finishing P2. And we look forward to seeing what you can do next week when we go to Bristol.
All right. Appreciate it.
All right, guys. That was the 15 of Ken Campbell in a very excellent second place finish. Coming up next, his season of domination has continued, and it's not looking like it's going to end anytime soon. Of course, it is the 17 of Mr. Christian Budd. Christian, this race was right up your alley. Green flag the whole way, a couple of green flag pit stops, and a fun car to drive around a fun track.
Yeah, I was real happy with the way everything went tonight. It's kind of fun just to get out there and just be able to run laps and not, have a bunch of cautions and get the pit strategy all mixed up and all that stuff. So it was a good race. Car was not too bad to drive. Kind of made a mistake in the first run and started running top for a little while and killed my tires. So figured that out. Shouldn't have done that. And then after that, just stayed on the bottom the rest of the time. And went pretty well.
And it looked like just a bit of a fun race as well, balancing the tire strategy with everyone else. What was the strategy like for you when it came to doing the pit stops? Like, were you waiting on a possible caution, or was it just you had a set decision on when you were going to pit because it was the optimal for the tires?
Yeah, it's the way these races run. I was going to run the first fuel run completely out. Short pitting just doesn't work. I saw, I think a couple guys, maybe Chris, tried it, and they just lose so much time on the second run. So it didn't gain you enough. So you ran that long, and then the second stop was a little bit more of thinking about how far do we have to go after we stop and things like that. Um, so I knew I wasn't going to run it completely out there, but once everybody started pitting behind me, that was really made it very easy to go ahead and pit the next lap, especially once Andrew and I think Ken was behind me. Once those two guys pit, it was pretty much a no brainer to pit the next lap and then just run it out to the end.
And it was a great result for Ken as well. You've seen him before when you were with us previously racing, and he wasn't exactly a front-running car, but he definitely turned a few heads here tonight, finishing P2 with some great pit strategy there.
Yeah, I don't think anybody should ever sell themselves short. And I've seen Ken run competitively before in our league. So it's probably just a matter of him, figuring out the tracks and everything like that. But yeah, not really surprised for me to see him finish in the top three.
All right, Christian. Let's look forward towards next week. One of your favorite tracks, Bristol Motor Speedway. What's the feeling like for you as we head into Tennessee for Bristol Week?
Should be fun. I like it that track with these cars. Hopefully the setup we get is good. And hopefully we get another green flag race like we did tonight. Bristol can be pretty fun when you get those long green runs, and it can be pretty terrible when everybody keeps wrecking. So hopefully everybody will be minding their P's and Q's.
There you go, guys. We've had the second jinx for next week already. So hopefully the two jinxes cancel themselves out and we have a decent race ahead of us. But Christian, before we let you go here tonight, mate, anyone you want to give a quick shout out to?
Yeah, just all the drivers who showed up tonight. No, we lost a few for various reasons out of their control for the most part. So, but everybody who shows up every week makes this fun. And then, of course, you for putting on the broadcast and the whole admin team for all the work that they do behind the scenes.
All right, thank you very much for coming out, Christian. And we look forward to seeing what you can do next week when we head to the last great Coliseum.
Thanks.
All right, guys, that was tonight's winner and the season dominator, 17 of Mr. Christian Budd. But that is going to wrap things up for us here tonight. Thank you all so very much for coming out. It has been an excellent race here for Kansas for the Backwood Racer 150. And we look forward to seeing you all again next week when we tackle the last great Coliseum of the Bristol Motor Speedway. So until then, I've been your commentator, the Aussie Sim commentator. We'll see you guys next week.